They say our lizard brain is the part of us that operates purely on simple survival instincts and responds to movement and color, like a lizard. That is the part of my brain that is firing when I watch the Venom movies. I don't really care what the plot is. I see a Venom horse and a Venom frog. I am already there. And check out this now. Venom bag? I think a lot of people have come around to these as just silly buddy movies, but I would argue also that there has been a method to the madness. These aren't immune to critique. And while I think that Venom: The Last Dance shockingly could maybe be the best live-action comic book movie of the year, I also think it is the worst of the 3 Venom movies. I knew it was only a matter of time. Venom has fallen victim to the sloppy alien villain MacGuffin treatment. This is basically like a Transformers movie, complete with mumbo-jumbo terminology, an alien race looking for refuge on Earth, this codex that's introduced in an exposition dump in the cold open. But there's also a great Eddie and Venom story here that's trying to peek through. So let's talk about it. This will be a spoiler review. We gotta talk about Knull and the post-credit scenes and all of that, so you have been warned. Also, fully aware, I'm not where I usually record. Sorry, I'm home in Boston, so change in scenery this week. But let's just dive in. Let's start with Knull in the glorified cameo that he has in this movie. So I'm not a big fan of the Venom comics or anything. I did research Knull before this, but I wasn't like personally excited to see him in the film. So if you are a fan and you were excited to see him in this, please let me know what you think of his inclusion, because obviously, I mean, he really might have like 2 minutes of screen time. The entire film, he's trapped on this prison planet and he's sending the xenophages to do his work and try and get the codex from Eddie and Venom. And I have to say, I was expecting to see more of him, but I'm honestly not mad that they're kind of doing the Thanos thing and just like setting him up to be a big bad down the line. The question that comes up for me though is, okay, Venom is dead, so I don't know whose villain he's gonna be, what that's gonna look like, but I also think it's a bit annoying that they just wanted to set him up, and like Eddie and Venom are characters we've been following for a long time, and it's this big emotional climax. And maybe it will have all been for nothing, because in the post-credit scenes, there are 2 of them. The mid-credit scene, it basically shows you like, oh, Knull will return. I guess he's gonna escape the prison planet some other way. So curious to know people's thoughts on this. Also, we're going down the bullet list here. I need to address this. There is a giant Michelle Williams shaped hole in this movie. I miss Anne so much. Do people love Anne? Like, I love Anne. I think she was one of the best parts of the previous 2 films, regardless of what her wig looked like. And I get it, she's with someone else now. We're not in San Francisco anymore, but we saw Mrs. Chen again, so apparently that doesn't really prevent anything. It's fine that she's gone, but regardless, I didn't feel like there was anything strong enough to fill that hole. The additions that we get are Rhys Ifans, he's really good in this, and his family are these like Area 51 alien fanatics, but they're more like peripheral comic relief than anything, even though they are, I think it makes for some of the funniest scenes in the film. Then we also get Dr. Payne, played by Juno Temple, and Strickland, who's played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Neither of them are very well realized characters. Dr. Payne's backstory is set up like it's meant to be a thing, but then it kind of reveals itself to mostly just be set up, I guess, for her to get a spin-off maybe, or just be in future films. And I love Juno Temple, but after this, I honestly am not feeling super invested or super interested in seeing more of her. And I don't know how this will be received, but I honestly did not love Tom Hardy as Eddie in this one. I felt like his heart was not in it. I don't know if it's because, I mean, Eddie's never been the most animated character in the world, but he's also supposed to be just very dejected in this film. But even when the big emotional climax happened and Venom literally dies, which by the way made me tear up, I kind of had to like try to like really get into it, but I did cry. I'm not above that. But Eddie honestly kind of seemed like he didn't really care that much. Tom Hardy as Venom, though, is fun as ever. He's so funny, even if I still can't hear what he's saying half the time. I don't know if that's just a me problem. And during that finale, which does really feel like big and exciting, we also get this symbiote team where all of these different people working there are like turning into the symbiotes, and I honestly feel like that should have been cooler than it ended up being, maybe because it all just happens so quickly. I really like Stephen Graham's symbiote Toxin. I think he was really cool and we got to kind of hear him talk and all of that, but otherwise I just couldn't keep track of who was which and who ended up dying at the end and what their respective abilities were and how significant all of that was. I just wanted more of that. And I also think there should have been more Venom animals. I feel like the movie should have just been like Venom being a shapeshifter, basically, and that's how they get around. There's your movie. Then it's fun. You get to see him turn into different animals. And then there's also an interpersonal conflict that involves Anne, because Anne should be here. So it definitely gets a bit muddled. I've seen some confusion from people about what exactly the symbiotes are capable of and what the rules are. I also think it's visually the worst of the 3 Venom films, even though it looks like they shot the stuff in Nevada on location somewhere. It's all just so empty and washed out. And I'm not including VFX in this. I think the VFX for the Venom films are actually consistently really good, especially here with the xenophages that like were sucking people up and like grinding them up out of the back of their neck. That was crazy. And also the scene of Venom dancing with Mrs. Chen. I love her so much. I don't even care that she spawned in Vegas for no reason. The titular last dance, if we are to take it literally, was genuinely magical. I can't believe I'm saying that. Maybe it'll end up being one of the most delightful musical sequences of the year. The bar is low, but I'm also a sucker for Vegas aesthetics. Like, I will never get sick of the lights reflecting on the car window of someone searching for purpose. And again, I think the finale feels grand, but compared to like the church sequence of Carnage or the car chase of the first film, there was nothing that really struck me as very visually impressive or much more than just noise, to be honest. Kelly Marcel wrote and directed this movie, and it's really interesting because she's been a writer on all the Venom movies, but she's worked her way up to directing. Andy Serkis directed Carnage, and he actually voices Knull in this one, which is interesting. But this was Kelly Marcel's directorial debut, and I think considering she's the least experienced director that we've seen in this series, it's not bad at all, and it's really hard to exactly tell what her capabilities are because a lot of the issues in this film are like a studio issue in so many ways, to the point that I'm just kind of like getting sick of talking about the issues that keep popping up in comic book films. And it used to be like just a Sonyverse thing, like, oh, haha, the Sonyverse movies are so bad. But now it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's with Marvel. Like, they're sloppily constructed because they're chopped to shit in the editing room with reshoots. There's bad ADR. It's visually bland. Characters are just there to set up future stuff. There's a stupid MacGuffin plot that detracts from the more intimate character arcs. It's just, whatever. Like, I don't need to say it again. We've all heard it before. But it just sucks because there is something really good here in this movie. It was genius to make it a road trip movie after Eddie and Venom are on the run and make it this final hurrah for them and have Venom's sacrifice come at a time where you're thinking about Eddie's future and what his life has to be because of Venom and what he's missing out on, being a dad and having a family. I think one of the best scenes in the film is when they're in the van with that Area 51 family and they sing David Bowie, and it's silly and it's fun, but it really commits to ending that scene on an earnest note and just that moment of like reflection and what the emotional core of the film really was. It was nice, but it all just gets lost and too watered down in the Knull subplot and the symbiotes and Dr. Payne and Strickland. And the previous 2 Venom films, which I enjoy both the previous 2 films, I don't think they're great, but they're fun for what they are because the villains are weak, but I like that at least they felt like a villain of the week. Like, it felt like a contained comic book adventure that Eddie and Venom's relationship could develop alongside of. But I do, at the end of the day, really like the ultimate direction and conclusion they gave to Eddie and Venom. Venom has made the ultimate sacrifice, and after a certain point it becomes clear that someone is going to die. I thought for a bit that maybe it would be both of them, but it makes sense that it was Venom. Is the montage at the end serious? I mean, I don't even know what the song is, but we get this montage of like living their greatest moments over again, and literally moments from this movie. I think it was supposed to be silly. I mean, it's totally stupid. It matches the tone of what Venom has been. I honestly wish there was more of that in this movie, but it's too late now. It's all over. Or is it? Nothing in comic books is ever really over. We get this other post-credit scene that we can talk about now. It's a little bit more of a head scratcher. It basically shows like complete destruction in the aftermath of the finale, and a cockroach crawls up next to a broken symbiote test tube. It looks like the one that Dr. Payne had, but I think she has the symbiote in her now. It does tie back, though, to how she said that cockroaches can survive anything, and they've been around for millions of years earlier on in the film. So I have seen some people saying that it means that Venom is coming back. I'm open to that, I guess. I don't know what to make of it, and that might be on purpose. I mean, Sony could come out and say something, or it's a purposefully ambiguous ending so that they can do what they want and they don't have to deliver on something. Like in the past, we've had post-credit scenes just turn into nothing that kind of promised something. We will see, I guess. But overall, I liked a lot of the ideas in Venom: The Last Dance, but I think it suffers from a lot of modern comic book movie issues, and I kind of missed that more contained Eddie Venom adventure feeling of the first two films. So I'm going to give Venom: The Last Dance 2 out of 5 stars. I'm kind of sad it's all over. I never really needed the Venom movies to go anywhere or have big implications. I would watch 10 of these that were just them like being stupid and getting into trouble. So rest in peace to a fun series. Let me know what you guys think of the Venom movies, of Venom: The Last Dance, what you think will be the future of the Sonyverse. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep an eye out for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.